booties for black girl nerds.
Hello, Sarah and
Hi.
Imani.
Hi.
Hi. I am in love with First Kill. I think it is a fantastic series, and I'm excited for people to see it. I will start with Imani. When it comes to your character, Calliope, what are some of the elements of yourself that you brought to this character?
I think when I see Calliope, I resonated with her confidence and her self-awareness and that diligence in her to master the things that she's passionate about. Even when the odds are stacked against her or no one else believes in her, she has to be the one to reinstill that strength in herself. And I always say in an industry like ours, you're constantly on this plight to prove your talent and to prove that you're capable of embodying these characters and doing these and making these incredible things and being able to move people. So I definitely resonated with Calliope's journey in that regard of proving herself and what she knows to be true about herself.
Yeah, I love that. And Sarah, what have you learned from your character, Juliet, in this first season? And how would you say that you've grown from day one to now?
Oh my gosh. I learned a lot about myself through her, honestly. And just I love her quiet strength and the way that she really cares for people, her empathy. I really admire her for that and being so true to her morals and what she believes in. And sorry, what was the second part of the question?
So how would you say you've grown from day one to now?
I would say I feel more confident now in going into jobs, knowing I can get through 6 months of filming, doing night shoots, day shoots, like just going through so much chaos. It was very challenging as an actor. So I would say I feel like I just gained a lot of new skills as a person.
I love it. And you know what? I'm constantly growing too. And you know what? Let me apologize, Sarah Catherine. Let me say your name properly.
Thank you.
So Imani, what are some of the things about bringing a queer Black lead and really this functional Black family onto the screen that you're most proud and happy for people to see?
Ooh, I think I'm proud of just that in itself. To see her being the youngest of her siblings, being the only daughter, but asserting her position. And I think the family in itself, the family dynamic is incredible. And I think it's so important that we see Black families like that, that have high rankings and that are intelligent and educated and equipped and trained and respected in their field and passionate about their field. I think it was so important to see that. And then they're a family of monster hunters. I don't think that's just like, what's not to love about that? I think it's so cool. You see their strength and how they instill strength in one another. And although they're family, they work as a team and they work almost like colleagues. Like they work as a conglomerate and as a unit. And I think it's so important to see that kind of unity and see such a diverse looking family aesthetically as well. I think it's going to be a dope thing for representation and for other families out there that look like mine.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both, Sarah Catherine and Imani. I appreciate you both and good luck with the rest of the series.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, Kat.
Hi, Elizabeth.
It's wonderful. Yes.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here with you. First Kill is a fantastic show, and your character is one of my faves already, to say the least.
She's like a little the crypt keeper. She fascinates me too. But I had such a great time. I mean, I really love this cast. I find everyone to be so touching to me, and I'm fascinated by them as people.
I love that. So how did you become attached to the project?
So I had the script and I knew that it was Schwab, Victoria, and I already was in love with her, which I've told her many times. And then I met Felicia and was bowled over by her warmth and strength and talent and just her sheer fierce power, but so also just so loving. And I thought, well, yes, I'll come be a vampire with you strong women. That sounds awesome.
Yes.
And
I love that.
I mean, and I loved how it was set up. I loved the Burns. I loved the Fairmonts. I loved all of those ideas because I think so often in fantasy, we can explore harder things to talk about, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that we have a chance to do that in a really loving, inclusive way. And I liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I think your character adds to that multifaceted and just layers of the story. And so I'm wondering, what is it about Margot that captured your attention to begin with?
I mean, I loved that she was a vampire. I loved that she was a 500-year-old vampire. And I loved Felicia's idea that vampires age, right? That was something that was really intriguing to me because that idea of it, it's lovely to watch a bunch of young people pretending to be old, but how lovely to have a middle-aged person, play basically a middle-aged vampire. Like, I was very excited about that. I thought that was kind of fun. And I'm like, so what? Do they get like plastic surgery? She's like, sure, eventually. And I was like, oh, no way. I just thought that was so cool. So I kind of loved the idea that, yes, they live forever, but there is, there's a fragility to this. Also, fertility that lasts for 500 years is super cool.
Hey.
So I found myself just very, very drawn to the idea of it. And then when I found out that Wise was going to be part of it, I fell fully in love with it because she's so flipping good. Have you seen her? So good.
So amazing. I've seen the entire thing. So I am
I'm not going to spoil anything, but she made me cry. I'm not saying when. I'm not saying anything about when. I'm telling you that she made me laugh out loud, and she made me go, yeah, and then she made me cry. I mean, I think she's spectacular.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole series, I feel like, is a buildup of just emotion and just greatness the entire way through.
There's humor in there. I can't believe how they made it work. I never thought of any of us as being particularly funny until I watched it and I was like, oh, I see. Okay, that's good. So good.
It's got a little bit of everything, which I think fans will enjoy. And I'm sure, I know they'll enjoy your character as well.
Oh, she's so funny.
So thank you so much, Elizabeth. Best of luck with the future of the series.
I appreciate that. So much pleasure talking with you.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Victoria and Felicia.
Nice to meet you.
So nice.
I think you have a great show on your hands, and I'm excited for everyone to see it. So, Victoria, I know that in the show there are references to Shakespeare, and rightly so, and the theme song even has references to Twilight, which I love. And so I'm wondering, what other references or sources did you look to help create the series along with your original short story?
That's such a great question. I mean, honestly, I grew up as a genre nerd. So yeah, as a reader, of course, I grew up with Anne Rice and I grew up with basically the entire genre canon. But as a viewer, I grew up with Buffy and Supernatural. And these are just, they're genre staples. They're campy, they're fun, they have heart. And so it's about, I wanted to capture these things that I loved when I was a teenager that really formed my love of genre.
Yeah, that's great. And Felicia, for you as, executive producer and writer and showrunner, I feel like you may have insight into a lot of these themes as well as Victoria, but what are some of the things besides family that you're hoping viewers pick up on, or even lessons that they'll take away?
Oh my God, there is so much stuff. Just so excited about all of it because there are themes about tolerance, and of course, therefore, intolerance is really a big one for the show overall. The idea of, I love the idea of not just family, but no matter who you are, living in a loving family is really a big important theme. Music is a very big important theme. I love music of all kinds, and really the ability to persevere no matter what. It's something I really relate to because I'm like, these girls are just like me. I feel sorry for my parents all over again, just thinking about no matter what I want, you know? And yes, it looks like I'm listening to you, but I'm gonna do what I wanna do. So I think, you know, and just the idea of seeing, there are just things of being able to be who you are, you know, probably the idea, a big one, an important one for me is the idea of, you know, a traditional, typical young Black girl seeing someone who looks like her, this wonderful, beautiful chocolate star of this show. I call her my mocha mocha. That's my nickname
Love it.
for her. And is really, really important, you know, so that may not be a theme of the show, but it's certainly a theme of the representation on the show.
Yeah. And, you know, you mentioned tolerance being one of the themes or just referenced in the show. And so I'm wondering, how did you approach race relations when creating this series, especially when it came to like the nuances of a Black family?
Mm-hmm. I think it's important that when you're used to living your life in a certain way every day, you know, what the world brings you, it's important to depict it in that way and not to make preachy moments of it. They're tiny little moments that, for instance, you've seen the show, what have you seen?
I've seen the entire 8 episodes.
Yes. Okay, then. So in the pilot, you see that when there's the big mansion party that the kids go to, I think a white audience wouldn't necessarily see the moment where Ashley comes up to Ben and poops him on his nose as a microaggression. But for Ben, and he tells you in his eyes, it is. Because as Black people, we're sort of used to people thinking it's okay to touch us or our hair or whatever, our skin, our body without our permission. Those are tiny little things like that. So it's important to put that kind of thing in, you know, as you saw in episode 2, when the police go by and Calliope's whole body changes. They're not going to tell us, this is not a show about a story about, you know, police brutality, but it is a story about if the Black people are going to live in this world, let's still be honest about their experience. This is absolutely a big, old, fun, you know, genre story about 2 girls in love and the, you know, Shakespearean Montagues and Capulets and all that. But we did not want to deny the truth of living in Black bodies.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for that. Absolutely. And, you know, I think I have like 1 minute left. Victoria, you have some of the best-selling books about magic and witches and ghosts and etc. And for this series, what has been your favorite part about creating a series about vampires and like trickling in those other creatures?
I mean, yeah, I've always loved vampires, right? And I refuse to believe that there's such a thing as a straight vampire. I'm like, you don't get to live for like hundreds of years. You're not.
You
straight.
should have been in our writers' room and heard these kind of debates. Like, Victoria, there are straight vampires.
There are no straight vampires.
Yes, there are.
There are no straight vampires. But here's the thing, right? For years and years and years and years, what you get is subtext. And I wanted to create a show that was not subtext. I don't want you to I didn't want queer baiting. I didn't want subtext. Like, I want my monsters and my queerness. I want these things to get to coexist, because what we're saying then is that these queer kids get to take up space in genre stories. It doesn't have to be about one aspect of their identity. And so I think it's extremely cool and exciting, but also important to be able to take, which is what my favorite genre element, and then put it into a space where my girls get to have a love story.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you both so much. I'm already a fan of the series. I hope there's more, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Tell all your friends to binge.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Nice meeting you.
Better shake your booties for Black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for Black girl nerves.